We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. It's going to be like a really wide-ranging presentation, but it also is going to get into some of the nitty-gritty details of how to submit your writing to literary journals and small presses. But my goal is to make it digestible, discernible, and you'll get a PDF of a slideshow with lots of links and things like that on it. And so that's going to be really helpful for just trying to guide your energy instead of having that scattered feeling of like, how the heck do I do this? It's going to give you a lot of direction in terms of how to go through these processes. And I want to emphasize that everyone's experience of submitting and publishing is different, and that's a real strength of this work that we do together. That we're all having different experiences of it, even though it's a shared literary community. That includes my own. This isn't necessarily objective information. It's not the only way to do things. It's a particular way of looking at the literary world. My work especially has centered on small presses and literary magazines, which is often thought of as kind of like an alternative to mainstream publishing or to major big five publishing. But it's actually really foundational for the literary world. And that's why I like to speak about it. And that's why I like to publish with those kinds of presses and those kinds of magazines. So that's the particular energy that I'm bringing to us today. There's no objective best way to do it to get your writing published, but I think this is a really beautiful pathway that can give you a lot of energy for your work. And that's why I like to talk about it and have conversations like we'll be having today. The one thing I want to help us to remember always is that we're all in this together, right? We're all doing it together. We're all excited about the written word. And yeah, we're all learning together too, including me. So my goals are fourfold. One, I want to create community together in our shared process of submitting our writing. We can do that a little bit in the chat and a little bit in the Q&A. I also want to help you understand some of the basic processes behind literary submissions, especially to small presses and lit mags, so that you can do it with confidence. I want you to start thinking about submitting as something that gives energy to your writing instead of taking it away from your work. I want you to feel inspired after you start thinking about publication instead of sort of trepidatious, which can often happen because it's an overwhelming prospect. And I want you to leave the class with a sense of shared engagement together in the difficult, long-term, but ultimately worthwhile process of sharing your work, because this is a really worthwhile process and it can be really rewarding. So the first thing I want to ask us and help us to remember is the reason that we're here and the reason we're doing these things. So what I'm going to ask you to do is answer the question of why do you want to submit your writing? Why do you want to publish your writing in the first place? What's your goal, your purpose, or your hope for submitting and publishing your creative work? So if you can put that answer to that question in the chat, I'll give you, a minute or so to write something down and to type in the chat just to share with your fellow classmates here. Why do you want to submit your writing? What's your goal or purpose or hope in submitting and publishing your creative work? If you can write that in the chat, it would be a great way to sort of set an intention together. So my first piece of advice is just always stay connected to that why. Why are you submitting? Why are you trying to publish? And if you stay connected to that why, it'll always keep you on the right path. Because the first thing, again, that I asked you is why do you want to submit your writing? But the first logistical thing, the first question we ultimately come to when we start to decide to submit our writing is often where to submit. Like, okay, I want to send out my work. I'm ready to do this. I have these good reasons for it, but where on earth am I going to send this writing? Okay, so this is kind of the first section of the talk. And at the end of this, I'll pause and check the Q&A and see if you have any further questions about where to submit.